It kills more than cholesterol, and your doctor never prescribed it. For the last 50 years, you've been told a simple story. High cholesterol is the villain that clogs your arteries and stops your heart. Your doctor's main weapon? A prescription for statins. You've learned to fear butter and red meat and to keep a close eye on one number on your lab report, LDL, the bad cholesterol. But what if focusing only on cholesterol is like blaming firefighters for the fire? There's a hidden accomplice at work in your body, a force that's a much more dangerous player in the game of heart disease. It is a major driver of the plaque in your arteries and is linked to a ton of chronic diseases, from diabetes to dementia. And the craziest part? Your doctor might not be testing you for it. In the rush to write that prescription to lower your cholesterol, it's possible they're missing the arsonist that's actually fanning the flames. Stick with me, because today we're unmasking this hidden driver, and I am going to give you the blueprint to fight it. A blueprint your doctor may have never shown you. The great cholesterol misunderstanding. To get what's really going on, we have to rewind. The whole story kicked off with the lipid hypothesis. The idea that eating fat raises your blood cholesterol and high cholesterol clogs your arteries. It's a simple, neat story. And for decades, it's been the gospel of heart health. But here's the thing. Cholesterol itself isn't evil. It's absolutely essential for life. Your body uses it to build every single cell you have. It is the starting block for vital hormones like testosterone and estrogen and is critical for making vitamin D from sunlight. Your brain is packed with cholesterol. It's essential for your nerves to even function. Without it, you're in big trouble. So, how did this life-giving substance become public enemy number one? The narrative zeroed in on low-density lipoprotein, or LDL, as the main bad guy. The mission became clear. Get that LDL number as low as humanly possible. And that's when the drug industry delivered its silver bullet. Statins. Drugs like atorvastatin and rosuvastatin became some of the most prescribed medications on Earth. Now, let us give credit where it's due. Statins are fantastic at what they were designed to do. They can slash LDL cholesterol, often by 30 to 50%. For people who already have heart disease, these drugs are often considered non-negotiable for lowering the total amount of cholesterol in the blood. But here's where the plot thickens. If we have these miracle drugs that are so good at lowering the supposed cause of heart disease, why is heart disease still the #1 killer worldwide? Why do so many people taking their statins, people with perfect cholesterol on paper, still end up having a heart attack? The uncomfortable truth is that the story is way more complicated. High LDL is a well-established risk factor, but it's not the whole story. It's like seeing firefighters at every fire and concluding they must be starting them. We've been so obsessed with policing the firefighters, the cholesterol, that we've overlooked the arsonist. The real question isn't just how much cholesterol you have, but why it's deciding to build up in your arteries in the first place. And the answer to that question reveals the true hidden danger. Unmasking the accomplice, chronic inflammation. The real force that silently drives heart disease isn't cholesterol acting alone. Its partner in crime is chronic inflammation. Now, inflammation isn't always bad. Cut your finger, and your body launches an acute inflammatory response. It becomes red, swollen, and hot. That's your immune system doing its job, fighting invaders and healing tissue. Once it's fixed, the inflammation goes away. But what if that process never shut off? Imagine tiny, invisible fires smoldering inside your body, day after day. That's chronic inflammation. It's a low-grade, systemic state of emergency. And one of its favorite targets is the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium. Think of your endothelium as a smooth, non-stick surface. But chronic inflammation is like rubbing it with sandpaper, creating tiny rough patches and tears. Your body, being smart, senses this damage and starts a repair process. And what's a key material for patching up damage? Cholesterol. The liver sends out LDL particles to deliver cholesterol to the injury site. Here is the critical plot twist. In a healthy, non-inflamed body, this works perfectly. But in an environment full of chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, the LDL particles themselves get damaged or oxidized. This oxidized LDL is no longer a helpful repairman. Your immune system sees it as a threat. Immune cells called macrophages rush in to eat the oxidized LDL, getting so bloated they turn into foam cells. These sticky foam cells get trapped in the damaged artery wall. This pileup of foam cells, calcium, and other junk is what we call plaque. So, let's get the story straight. Cholesterol didn't just decide to clog your artery. First, inflammation damaged the artery wall. Cholesterol arrived as the repair crew. Then, the ongoing fire of inflammation caused the repair material to become part of the problem itself. Inflammation is the spark. Oxidized LDL is the gasoline. The plaque is just what's left after the fire. This explains why many people who have a heart attack don't have crazy high cholesterol. Their problem wasn't the amount of cholesterol, but the size of the fire that called it to the scene. The flaw in our system. Why we're measuring the smoke, not the fire. If inflammation is such a key player, why isn't an inflammation panel a standard part of every checkup? Why is the go-to tool so often just a statin prescription? It's complicated, but it comes down to a few things. First, our medical system is largely built to treat symptoms with drugs. There's a multi-billion-dollar drug for high cholesterol. There's no blockbuster drug for an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. Second, the cholesterol-only approach has known trade-offs that aren't always in the spotlight. While side effects like muscle pain are reported, a more significant concern is the well-documented link between statin use and an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Think about that. A medication to reduce one risk factor for heart disease can increase your risk for another huge driver of heart disease, diabetes. It's a serious trade-off that requires a detailed conversation with your doctor. However, the biggest flaw is often in the testing itself. A standard lipid panel is an incomplete picture. It gives you total cholesterol, HDL, good, and LDL, bad, but it tells you nothing about the inflammatory fire. To really see your risk, you need to look for evidence of the arsonist. There are several tests that, while not always standard, can paint a much clearer picture. The most important is high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, hsCRP. CRP is a protein made by your liver that rises with inflammation. The hsCRP test is sensitive enough to detect the low-grade inflammation that damages arteries. A level under 1 mmol is considered low risk, while over 3 mmol suggests a high risk for a future cardiovascular event, even if your cholesterol looks fine. Another is fasting insulin. This isn't the same as a blood sugar test. It shows how hard your body is working to keep your blood sugar stable. High levels are a sign of insulin resistance, a major cause of chronic inflammation and a huge risk factor for heart disease. Finally, some doctors use advanced lipid panels that measure LDL particle number, LDLP, and size. These tests show that not all LDL is the same. You can have a normal LDL level, but a high number of small, dense particles, which are more likely to get oxidized and cause trouble. While not routinely recommended in general guidelines, these tests can offer valuable insights for people with a family history of heart disease or other risk factors. The system often falls short because it's measuring the wrong thing. It's like judging a building's safety by counting the windows while ignoring the fire in the basement. If this is making sense and you're ready to look for real health truths, take a second to subscribe and turn on notifications. We're building a community that questions the norm to find genuine wellness. It all starts with having the right information. The solution: how to put out the fire. This might sound like a lot, but here's the good news. You have a massive amount of control over inflammation. This isn't about genetics. It's about your choices. You don't need a prescription. You need a plan. Let's build one around 4 pillars. Change your fuel. The biggest driver of chronic inflammation is often the modern diet. You can't out-medicate a bad diet. You have to stop fueling the fire, specifically with 2 main culprits. First, refined sugars and carbohydrates. Things like bread, pasta, cereal, and sugary drinks cause blood sugar to spike, forcing your body to pump out insulin. Over time, this drives insulin resistance and systemic inflammation. Second, ultra-processed foods. Anything in a box with a long list of ingredients you can't pronounce is likely loaded with the sugar, unhealthy fats, and additives that fuel inflammation. The solution is a radical shift to whole, unprocessed foods. Your new fuel should be an anti-inflammatory diet built on healthy fats. Think of these as firefighters. This includes omega-3s from wild-caught fatty fish like salmon and sardines, and monounsaturated fats from avocados, extra virgin olive oil, and nuts. High-quality protein from grass-fed meat, pasture-raised poultry, and wild fish. A rainbow of vegetables and low-sugar fruits. These are loaded with fiber and phytonutrients that actively fight inflammation. Herbs and spices, turmeric, ginger, garlic, and green tea are some of the most potent natural anti-inflammatories on the planet. A note on fats. Saturated fat from animal products and some tropical oils can raise LDL levels, which is why major guidelines recommend limiting them. The debate around industrial seed oils is complex. While some studies suggest they may be pro-inflammatory due to their chemical instability, others show no such effect. The safest bet is to focus on whole food sources of fat and minimize highly processed products. Heal your gut. Your gut is command central for your immune system. An unhealthy gut lining can leak toxins into your bloodstream, triggering a massive inflammatory response. Heal your gut by cutting inflammatory foods and adding probiotic-rich foods like kefir and kimchi, plus prebiotic fiber from things like onions and garlic. Master stress and sleep. You can eat a perfect diet, but if you're chronically stressed and sleep-deprived, you'll still be inflamed. Chronic stress pumps out the inflammatory hormone cortisol. Lack of sleep also jacks up inflammatory markers like CRP. Prioritizing meditation, deep breathing, morning sunlight, and a solid sleep routine isn't a luxury. It's a medical necessity. Move wisely. The right movement is powerfully anti-inflammatory. This isn't about punishing yourself with cardio. The key is a combination of resistance training to build muscle and improve insulin sensitivity, and consistent, low-intensity movement like walking, which is one of the most underrated health tools there is. Becoming the CEO of your own health. So, what do you do with this? This is not about firing your doctor. It's about upgrading your role from a passive patient to an informed partner. The next time you have a checkup, have a different conversation. Don't just ask, "What's my cholesterol?" Say, "Doctor, I've been learning about the role of inflammation and metabolic health in heart disease risk. Along with the standard lipids, can we please run an HSCRP and a fasting insulin level?" This changes everything. You're now guiding your care based on a more complete picture of your health. Now, what if your inflammation is high and your doctor still recommends a statin? This is where it gets nuanced. Statins themselves have anti-inflammatory effects. If you already have significant plaque buildup, using a statin to aggressively lower LDL, the raw material for plaque, can be a life-saving part of the strategy. There are also powerful injectable drugs like PCSK9 inhibitors that can dramatically lower LDL for high-risk individuals, but medication should never be the only strategy. Taking a statin without also working to extinguish the inflammatory fire is like bailing water out of a boat while ignoring the hole in the hull. The goal is to address the root cause, so that over time the need for medication might be reduced. For years, we've been told a simplified story about heart disease. We've demonized a molecule that's essential for life, while often overlooking the inflammatory fire that makes it dangerous. The crucial link between LDL cholesterol and chronic inflammation is the real story behind heart disease and many other chronic illnesses. But the power to put out that fire is largely in your hands. It's on your fork, in your sleep schedule, and in your daily habits. Shifting your focus from a single lab number to the overall health of your body's internal environment is the most important move you can make for your long-term health. You are not just a number on a lab report. You are a complex, dynamic human being, and you have the power to create an internal environment of vibrant health. Share this video with anyone you know who's worried about their cholesterol. You could change how they think about their health. And for a deeper dive, check out the resources in the description below. Thanks for joining me.